Have you ever just wondered why you feel that spark with one person, but maybe absolutely nothing with someone else? Is it just, random magic, or is there something more going on?
Hmm.
Today, we're really going to try and cut through some of the cliches, the romance novel stuff, and do a deep dive into the actual science behind love and attraction.
Exactly. Yeah, we've pulled together quite a bit of research, some fascinating insights, really.
Hmm.
And our mission today is to sort of unpack those hidden factors,
Hmm.
the biology, the psychology, even culture that shape who we find compelling.
Right.
Think of it maybe as a shortcut to understanding why love feels, well, both deeply personal, but also sometimes surprisingly predictable.
Yeah.
You might actually be surprised how much is happening, behind the scenes in our bodies and minds.
And we are going to touch on some things that might, well, really surprise you. Like the subtle biological whispers we might not even consciously notice, the
Hmm.
psychological patterns we keep repeating, maybe without realizing it. And of course, those big cultural filters we all look through. By the end, hopefully, you'll see the connections between that sort of random seeming spark and some, well, pretty profound scientific truths. So let's get into it.
Okay, so we often think it's our heart, right, just leading the way, that feeling, that
Right.
pull.
Undeniable pull, yeah.
But what if, kind of underneath all that conscious feeling, our biology is constantly, maybe subtly, influencing things, nudging us one way or
Oh,
another?
it absolutely is. It's a huge layer and one we often, well, overlook. Take pheromones, or maybe more accurately, chemosignals.
They're not like perfume.
No, no, not the stuff you spray on. This is your body's unique chemical signature. Now, the research on human pheromones is, it's still evolving, it's complex,
Sure.
but some studies do suggest that these really subtle unconscious scent cues, particularly linked to our MHC genes, the major histocompatibility complex, they can play a role.
How so?
Well, our brains might pick up on these signals as indicators of genetic diversity, which, from an evolutionary perspective, could mean healthier kids down the line.
Mm. We just experience it as, well, an unexplainable feeling. Like, I just like how they smell. It's weirdly basic.
That is incredibly subtle. Wow. And it's not just scent, is it? Our eyes are doing things too.
About
Like,
that.
we know symmetrical faces are often seen as more attractive, but you're saying eye tracking studies show we actually stare longer at them, even if we're not
Uh,
consciously judging.
Exactly. We spend more time fixated on them. And there's a deep biological reason for that, too. It's not just about looking nice,
Okay.
facial symmetry, healthy features.
Mm-hmm.
They often signal developmental stability, basically how well your body handled stress while growing up.
Right. Like a sign of good health.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Our ancient brains kind of learned to clock these as signs of good health, strong genetics, and those preferences. They're still baked in, informing those initial snap judgments about attraction. It's like a silent, super fast assessment.
So, like an unconscious health check, that makes sense. What about sound? Does voice matter? I've heard things about like deeper voices in men or higher voices in women.
Definitely. Research backs that up. Studies show men with deeper voices and women with higher pitched voices often get rated as more attractive.
Is that evolution again?
Seems like it, yeah. A deeper voice in men might signal higher testosterone, maybe larger body size, things historically linked to strength, protection.
Okay.
And for women, a higher, maybe more modulated voice is often associated with femininity, youthfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Again, potential markers of reproductive fitness from an evolutionary standpoint.
Hmm.
These aren't really conscious decisions we're making, like ticking boxes. They're more like primal filters. Our brains just
Yeah.
apply, influencing how desirable someone seems initially. It's a whole symphony of these subtle biological cues happening all at once.
Wow. So if you've ever felt that pull, that connection you just couldn't explain, it's fascinating to think that maybe these deep biological things, hidden sense, symmetry checks, voice tones might have been setting the stage all along. Okay, so biology gives us those first whispers, those initial cues, but then our minds jump in, right? Translating, interpreting, building on it all.
Absolutely. It weaves this intricate psychological connection. We definitely don't fall for looks alone, not even close. Our minds are hugely involved, drawing us towards certain emotional patterns.
And you mentioned attachment styles earlier: secure, anxious, avoidant.
Right. They're crucial here because they really show how our earliest experiences shape our adult relationships. These aren't just neat labels. They're like deeply ingrained ways of relating.
In childhood.
Largely, yes.
Oh.
Based on how our caregivers responded to us, if you felt safe and seen, you might develop a secure style comfortable with closeness, interdependence.
Okay.
But if things were inconsistent, maybe you develop an anxious style, worrying about relationships, fearing rejection. Or if closeness felt threatening, maybe an avoidance style, valuing independence, feeling uncomfortable with too much intimacy.
And these styles affect who we're drawn to.
Profoundly. They influence the kind of relationship dynamics that feel, well, familiar, comfortable almost. Even if objectively they aren't the healthiest patterns for us, we might seek out what we know.
So it's like recognizing an old emotional script, not just feeling a spark.
Okay, and sticking with patterns, the big question. Opposites attract, or do similar people stick together? What does the science actually say?
Well, for long-term success, the science points pretty strongly towards similarity,
Hmm.
especially in core values, life goals, maybe even intellectual level. Shared ground seems to be key for lasting bonds.
Right, but what about that initial excitement? Sometimes opposites do seem to attract, don't they?
Oh, for sure. That initial short-term attraction can absolutely thrive on opposites. There's an intrigue there, right? Novelty. Discovering something different can create a really powerful, almost electric feeling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you can think of it like the initial curiosity, the thing that pulls you in. But for something that lasts, that shared foundation, especially on the big stuff, seems to be much more important.
Okay, and speaking of what's important, confidence. I read that self-assurance often ranks higher than just physical looks in the long run. That's a really compelling finding, yeah. It consistently comes up. It's not just superficial charm, confidence, charisma. They often signal things like social competence, a secure sense of self.
Which is attractive in itself.
Exactly. It tells our brain, maybe subconsciously, this person is capable, they're okay. Which really highlights how much our perception of attractiveness is interpretive. It's not just ticking boxes on looks, it's how someone carries themselves, how they interact.
So maybe take a moment, listening to this to reflect on your own patterns. Do you see yourself pulled towards certain emotional dynamics? Maybe ones that echo things from your past? Or do you find you gravitate towards people with shared interests, shared values? It's powerful stuff, this psychological layer. It really shapes our whole romantic landscape.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit now, because it's not just our biology and psychology working in a vacuum, is it?
Not at all.
We're all swimming in this bigger pool of culture.
Mhm.
And it seems like, yeah, love might be universal, but who we find attractive,
Mm.
that gets filtered a lot by society, by the stories we're told. Oh, definitely. If you look globally, the differences are striking. Think about many Western cultures. Romantic love is like put on a pedestal, isn't it?
Totally, the whole soulmate thing.
Exactly. This idea of one perfect person destined for you, intense passion. And that shapes expectations.
Mm.
Whirlwind romances, grand gestures. The focus is often on that individual chemistry.
Which is really different from what you often see in many Eastern cultures,
They're
right?
very different, often. There, the emphasis might shift more towards things like family approval, shared community values, long-term compatibility,
So
stability.
it's less about just two people.
Yeah, it's often less about two individuals finding each other in isolation and more about, well, two families, maybe two communities, finding a good, stable match. The story isn't just, I love you. It's more like, we are building a life together with our family's support.
That's a fundamentally different way of looking at it.
Precisely. And these different ideals, they really affect what people look for in a partner, even how they define attraction. It can shift the whole focus from that individual spark to maybe collective well-being. What's attractive takes on a different meaning.
And now, with everything so connected, global dating apps, for instance, they must be mixing things up.
Oh, they definitely are. They're connecting people across cultures who, might never have met otherwise, which is amazing in one way.
But
Well, here's where it gets a bit nuanced. The algorithms behind these apps, they can sometimes end up reinforcing existing cultural stereotypes without meaning to.
how so?
They might subtly push users towards certain ideal types that reflect maybe dominant cultural biases rather than truly encouraging diverse connections. It's complex.
So it's like opening doors, but maybe also subtly guiding you through certain ones.
Sort of, yeah. It creates this interesting tension. On one hand, you have this unprecedented global access. On the other, there's a risk of kind of codifying, maybe even narrowing, our ideas of attraction based on biases baked into the systems, like a new kind of cultural filtering.
It really is. So maybe think about your own background, or even just the movies you watch, the media you consume. How might that have subtly shaped what you expect from attraction, from love? It's a powerful filter, often invisible, influencing us all. Right, so we've covered biology, psychology, culture, all these layers. But
Mm.
let's be honest, even with all that science, there's still something unpredictable about attraction, isn't there? That element of mystery.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe we could call it the dance of chance in how we interpret it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because sometimes it really does just come down to timing, circumstance.
Absolutely. Being in the right place at the right time sounds cliche, but life's coincidences, those sort of stochastic events, random chance that put two people in the same spot at the same point in their lives, that plays a huge role.
It's not always some grand cosmic plan, then.
Often not.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's just the sheer odds of your paths crossing at that particular moment.
Okay. And then there's the spark. We all know that feeling, right? That instant connection.
Yeah, that electric feeling.
Neuroscience actually shows a dopamine surge then, right?
It does. A big surge. And dopamine isn't just about feeling good. It's really involved in reward prediction and motivation. It's basically your brain screaming, pay attention. This could be important. This could be rewarding.
Wow.
But here's the really crucial part, I think. That spark isn't only hormones going wild. It's also the story we immediately start telling ourselves about that person.
Ah, okay. Explain that.
Well, our minds, kind of fueled by that dopamine rush, start filling in the gaps. We project hopes, desires, maybe even fantasies onto that interaction, onto that person. We sort of construct the magic.
So it's a mix of the biological rush and our own interpretation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the brain taking this complex mix of signals, biological cues, echoes of past experiences, maybe even cultural ideals, and wrapping it all up in a narrative, a very compelling narrative usually.
That's fascinating. So the mystery isn't necessarily defying logic. It's more like the sheer complexity of everything interacting.
I think that's a great way to put it. The number of variables is just immense.
Yeah.
Your genes, your childhood, your culture, what happened to you last week, the exact timing. Making individual predictions is incredibly hard, even if we understand the pieces.
Right.
It's the way all these forces come together in that moment that gives us that feeling of something unpredictable, something almost magical.
Yeah. Think about a time you felt drawn to someone and it made absolutely no sense on paper, or a connection that just seemed to appear out of thin air. Maybe it wasn't defying logic after all, but just the incredibly complex dance of chance, brain chemistry, and our own storytelling minds. Okay, so we've taken quite a journey here through the biology, the psychology, the culture, even the mystery and chance.
Mhm.
But what does this all mean for you? Listening to this, trying to navigate your own connections, how can we actually use these insights?
Yeah, that's the key question, isn't it? Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is realizing that attraction isn't necessarily this fixed, static thing that happens instantly.
Right, not always a lightning bolt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It often grows. It deepens over time with, real emotional connections, shared experiences. So a huge insight is maybe don't chase that illusion of immediate, perfect fireworks all the time.
Mm.
That initial spark can be great, sure, but lasting connection, that often takes time to build. It might even come from something as simple as the mere exposure effect. Just becoming familiar and comfortable with someone can actually breed fondness.
That's such a good point, especially when everything feels so instant these days. And related to that, I guess, is being authentic.
Oh, absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
If you're putting on an act, pretending to be someone you're not,
Yeah.
well, you're building a relationship with a mask, right?
Yeah, that's not going to last.
Probably not. Genuine self-expression, even showing vulnerability, that's what lets real connection happen. It builds trust, makes people feel psychologically safe.
Allows true compatibility to actually show itself.
Exactly. Which leads right into another really critical insight from all the science. Focus on shared values.
The deeper stuff.
Yes. Shared goals, a similar outlook on life, fundamental beliefs that consistently beats superficial looks, hands down, for building relationships that last and are satisfying.
That's the bedrock, isn't it?
It really is. It's what helps you navigate conflict, build a shared future, feel like you're truly partners.
It's a powerful reminder to look beyond that initial flash and think about what really sustains things long term.
Definitely. So ultimately what we've seen today is that attraction is this incredibly complex mix. It's chemistry plus psychology plus culture plus chance.
A bit of everything.
A bit of everything.
Yeah.
And in that whole complex equation, your conscious choice, your agency, that's where real love starts to get forged. That's where you take all these influences and decide consciously, intentionally, what you want to build.
So next time you feel those butterflies, that pull, just take a second. Remember this whole intricate dance happening under the surface. Your brain, your biology, your past, your culture, they're all in there weaving together to create that feeling.
It's quite something when you think about it.
Right.
And while science gives us these amazing insights into attraction, the mechanisms drawing us together, love itself,
Yeah.
that ongoing commitment, that bond, that still feels like something bigger.
Yeah.
It's a profound human experience that probably transcends any single equation. It just keeps inspiring us, shaping our lives.
And maybe that leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on. If attraction really is this complex tapestry woven from our genes, our personal histories, our cultural lenses, what does it actually mean to choose someone? How much of that choice is truly us, our free will, and how much is us just navigating these powerful, unseen currents? Something to mull over next time you feel that undeniable pull.